My best friend asked me to be her maid of honor. She cried when she asked, said she couldn't imagine walking down the aisle without me standing beside her. I planned her bachelorette party, zipped her into her dress, held her bouquet at the altar. I gave her everything. What she didn't know was that 3 weeks before the wedding, I found messages on her laptop from my ex-husband. Messages that said, "She still doesn't suspect anything. I'll meet you after the bachelorette party." Turns out, their affair started 2 years ago. While I was still married, while I was caring for my dying mother, while I was blaming myself for a divorce that wasn't my fault. So no, I didn't confront them. Not at the dress fitting, not in Miami, not even the morning of the wedding. Instead, I waited until the ballroom was full, until the champagne was flowing, until the lights dimmed. The Maid of Honor tribute. And then, I pressed play. If you've ever trusted someone so deeply it blinded you, this story is for you. If you've ever wanted to deliver your pain wrapped in absolute silence, this story is yours. What would you have done if your best friend and your ex-husband betrayed you like this? Tell me in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to EN Reddit Story, where real betrayal meets poetic justice. Every single day. Megan Taylor and I met in kindergarten. She had pigtails, a scraped knee, and offered me the glitter half of her sticker sheet when mine got soaked in a juice box incident. From that moment on, we were inseparable. Summer camps, school dances, college dorms. We even shared a crappy one-bedroom apartment in Queens while working 2 jobs and pretending we were adults. I used to think we were soulmates in a best friend kind of way. The kind that didn't need explanations. The kind that laughed at the same things, texted in sync, knew exactly when the other needed wine or silence. So when she called me crying 6 months ago, big, gasping sobs, and asked me to be her maid of honor, I didn't hesitate. Of course, I said yes. Of course, I helped her pick the color palette and the caterer, and navigate that screaming match with her future mother-in-law. Of course, I flew to Miami and held her hair after too many margaritas, because that's what you do for your best friend. And honestly, after my own divorce last year, it felt good to focus on something happy, something outside my own cracked heart. David, my ex-husband, had blamed growing apart, said it wasn't anyone's fault, that we just weren't aligned anymore. I believed him. I believed every gentle lie, even told people we ended things peacefully, like adults. Turns out, the real reason he stopped holding my hand at night wasn't disconnection. It was Megan. I had no clue, not even a whisper of suspicion. She'd cried with me through the divorce, brought me soup, slept over on the nights I couldn't sleep, told me he was a fool for letting me go. She lied straight into my grief. And I thanked her for it. The truth hit 3 weeks before the wedding. I was at Megan's apartment, helping finalize her seating chart while she went to her last dress fitting. Her laptop was open. I was logged into her Canva, rearranging slides for the photo montage she wanted to play at the reception. That's when a message popped up, bottom right corner of the screen. David, she still doesn't suspect anything. I'll meet you after the bachelorette party. Same hotel? I stared at it. My breath caught, but my brain tried to reason. Maybe it was someone else. Maybe it was a joke. But when I clicked on the thread, months of messages, photos, videos, plans, her name in his mouth, her lips in his camera roll, and one message that shattered me more than all the others. I'll leave her after your wedding. Just let her think it was mutual until then. That was the moment something inside me went quiet. Not rage, not even heartbreak, resolve. I closed the laptop, saved every screenshot, every file, and I smiled. Not because I was okay, but because I finally knew the truth, and I was done playing the fool. I didn't confront Megan that day. I didn't send a rage text. I didn't call David and scream into the phone. I just closed her laptop, saved the evidence to a private folder on my cloud drive, and smiled. I spent the next 3 weeks being exactly who they expected me to be. At the bachelorette party in Miami, I danced with her under neon lights, toasted her with tequila, and told everyone, loud enough for the cameras to pick it up, that she deserved the world. The entire time, I was sitting on the truth. It burned behind my smile, sizzled under every compliment I gave her. But I let it cook, because timing is everything. Megan had planned a showstopper of a wedding, the Plaza Hotel, floral arrangements taller than most people, a live quartet, hand-calligraphed place cards, custom cocktails. Her father even had a cigar lounge built into the ballroom just for the groom. And then there was me, her maid of honor, standing at her side, adjusting her veil, holding her train, helping her step into her Louboutin heels. She cried when I handed her the bouquet, said she couldn't have done any of it without me. I just pressed a tissue into her hand and told her I loved her. And I did. Once. That morning, while she was getting her makeup done, I slipped the final piece into place. I met with the wedding coordinator, smiled sweetly and said I'd be doing a slideshow before my speech, photos of Megan and me growing up. A sentimental tribute to 30 years of friendship. The planner melted. Oh, that's going to be so special. Yes. Special. I edited the slideshow myself. It started sweet. Us as kids, high school dances, college parties, her holding my bouquet when I got married. Then, the tone shifted. A subtle fade into screenshots, messages, photos of her in my bed. One short video clip, silent but unmistakable. I gave the file to the AV team, no red flags. Everyone thought it was adorable. They never clicked past the 5th slide. And just like that, the stage was set. The reception was unreal. The ballroom glowed with gold light. The champagne never stopped flowing. Guests danced between courses. And Megan? She looked like a Vogue bride. Perfect. Unbothered. Radiant. She beamed when I walked up to the mic. My voice was calm, measured, like I'd rehearsed it in my head every night for 3 weeks. Megan and I have been best friends since we were 5. We've shared everything. Our secrets, our dreams, even our shoes. The crowd chuckled. Megan laughed, touched her chest. And apparently, my husband. Silence. A ripple through the crowd. I looked at her. Directly. She tilted her head, confused. I reached into my pocket, tapped my phone, the ballroom lights dimmed, and on the massive screen behind us, the slideshow began to play. The first photo on the screen was innocent, us at 5, covered in glitter and cake. The next, a sleepover. Then graduation caps, bridesmaids' dresses, beach trips. Megan smiled, touched by the nostalgia, until the screen shifted, a soft fade to a screenshot, a text thread. David, she still doesn't suspect anything. Megan, after the wedding, it's all ours. Laughter around the room fell into confusion. Another slide. A cropped image of Megan's hand on David's chest. My pillow in the background. My bedroom. Then a close-up selfie of them kissing in my kitchen. The crowd gasped. Andrew, the groom, frowned, blinking rapidly. Megan shot up from her seat. Rachel, what is this? I didn't move. I didn't flinch. For those of you wondering, yes, this started before the divorce. While I was taking care of my dying mother, they were planning hotel meetups. The screen flashed more evidence. A hotel receipt, a forwarded email, the video, silent, grainy, but clear. Megan and David. In my bed. Megan lunged for the microphone. I stepped back. It's already been sent, Megan. To Andrew. To your parents. To your college roommate who always said you had main character energy. Oh, and to the high school reunion committee. I thought they might enjoy the show. She turned to Andrew, her voice cracking. It's not what it looks like, Andrew, I swear. He stood up slowly, his face pale, eyes locked on the screen. I'm sorry you had to find out this way, I said, turning to him. But if she could do this to someone she's loved for 30 years, imagine what she'll do to someone she's known for 2. A beat of silence. Then Andrew walked out. No words, no anger. Just walked. The string quartet had stopped playing. Guests whispered, stunned, phones out, cameras already rolling. Megan collapsed into her chair, face in her hands. Her father stood frozen. Her mother looked ready to faint. I placed the mic gently on the table, straightened my emerald green dress. Tradition says the maid of honor keeps the guest book, I said. I've left my gift instead. I pulled a card from my clutch and laid it beside the microphone. The name of a very good divorce attorney. I imagine more than one person here might need it soon. I turned and walked off stage. Not a single person stopped me. I didn't stay for the cake. I didn't stay to watch Megan scream at her parents or see Andrew leave in the black SUV waiting at the curb. I didn't need to. The moment I walked off that stage, I had already said everything I came to say. The doors of the ballroom swung open behind me, but I didn't turn around. I slipped off my heels, walked barefoot down the velvet-lined hallway of the plaza, and exhaled for the first time in 3 weeks. The wedding planner never contacted me again. I'm pretty sure she's still in therapy. By morning, the video had already been forwarded more times than I could count. A few guests had uploaded it in real time. Blurred, shaky cell phone footage of a woman calmly destroying a $200,000 wedding with the kind of poise normally reserved for political assassinations. The comments were savage. "That's not a maid of honor. That's a maid of vengeance. I want her on my team during the apocalypse. Justice in emerald green." Megan disappeared from social media. David went silent, too. But Andrew? He sent me a message a week later. "Thank you. I never saw it. Not until that moment. And somehow you made sure I didn't find out too late." I didn't reply right away. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't know how. What do you say to the man who almost became your ex-best friend's husband, but he kept writing? Short messages, observations, a meme once, then a book recommendation. Nothing flirty, just human. Honest. Quiet. We started having coffee once a month, then every 2 weeks. It was never romantic. We talked about the aftermath, about betrayal, about therapy, about how trust is a house you think you built right until someone shows you the rot in the foundation. 6 months after the wedding, Andrew finalized the divorce. He sent me another message. "Your lawyer was incredible." Megan tried to deny everything until the footage was submitted into evidence. "I hope she marries David. They deserve each other, and I think they will." They got engaged again, not long after. A much smaller wedding, I'm told. Destination. No maid of honor. As for me, I left New York, took the advance for my first book deal, a memoir, ironically about honesty, and bought a small beach house in San Diego. I named it Second Draft. I adopted a golden retriever named Max from a rescue shelter. He follows me everywhere. Sleeps curled against my legs, doesn't lie, doesn't cheat, just exists with simple loyalty and warm eyes that don't blink with betrayal. Sometimes I still think about the moment I tapped my phone and lit up that ballroom. How the truth landed like a match in a powder keg. How satisfying it was, not because I wanted to humiliate Megan, but because I wanted clarity, closure, a clean line between what was and what would never be again. 1 year after the wedding that never was, I sat on the patio of my beach house with Max curled at my feet and a glass of Pinot in my hand. The Pacific was calm that evening, blue turning to fire as the sun slipped beneath the horizon, the kind of sunset you feel in your lungs. My phone buzzed. It was Andrew. We hadn't talked in a couple of weeks. Life had moved forward. Him in Manhattan, me on the West Coast. Our calls had become less frequent but always kind. His message was short. "Thought you'd want to know. David and Megan's engagement announcement ran in the Times today. They're planning a small, intimate ceremony." I stared at the screen. No emotion, no spike of rage, just a quiet knowing. Of course they were. I could picture it. Megan in some flowing off-white silk gown, pretending this was her first time. David smiling like a man who'd been handed his fantasy, but not the character to carry it. Their parents probably didn't even bother showing up. And still, I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not bitterness, just peace. I typed back, "Good luck with that." Then I put the phone down and didn't check it again. I watched Max lift his head to the breeze, nose twitching toward the salt in the air, and I realized something. That speech I gave? That wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was a reset. I didn't just end their illusion, I ended mine. The illusion that loyalty always protects you. That history is enough. That people who know your worst fears won't be the ones to weaponize them. Megan knew me better than anyone. David had loved me once, but neither respected me enough to keep me. And so I let them go. In front of 300 people. In front of a string quartet and a wedding cake and a wall of white roses. I took the life they tried to rewrite and rewrote it myself. No apologies. No edits. Just truth. And you know what's wild? No one ever questioned my choices. Not once did someone say I went too far. Not once did anyone say I should have done it in private. Because when people finally see the betrayal you've carried quietly for years, they don't judge your roar. They wonder how you stayed silent for so long. A week after the engagement announcement, I received a thick envelope in the mail. No return address, just my name in silver script. Inside was an invitation, cream cardstock, gold embossed. Megan Taylor and David Wilson cordially invite you to their wedding. I didn't laugh. I didn't cry. I placed it on the kitchen counter beside the bowl of oranges and let it sit there like a ghost that had nowhere left to haunt. Because by then I had nothing left to say, and everything left to live. I didn't RSVP. I didn't burn it, didn't send it back torn in half or scrawled with red ink. I simply let it remind me, briefly, of the person I used to be. Then I tossed it in the recycling bin and took Max for a walk. The wind was soft that afternoon, the ocean glittered like it had something to tell me, and for once I wasn't remembering. I wasn't replaying. I wasn't scripting a better comeback. I was present. Whole. People ask me sometimes, quietly, carefully, if I regret what I did, if I'd do it again. And I tell them this: I didn't ruin her wedding. She did. I just turned on the projector. Because sometimes the truth is messy. It hurts, it humiliates, but silence hurts worse, and if protecting my dignity required burning their fairy tale to the ground, then so be it. The real fairy tale was this: a woman learns who she is not by who stands beside her, but by who survives when the ones she trusted most vanish. I didn't just survive, I rebuilt. And this time, the only vows I'll ever speak again are to myself. What would you have done if your best friend betrayed you like this? Would you stay silent? Or would you hit play? Drop your story in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to EN Reddit Story, where every truth eventually finds its voice. Every single day.